Yes, I'm seeing your screen now.
Okay. Is there something like a white box or like a box covering any part of the screen?
There's no white box covering any part of the
Okay.
screen.
All right. Just trying to be sure that I have everything shared. Okay. Share again. Okay. All right, so I'll quickly jump into the chat box. Shoma, the last says, but not the least, says, I'm joining from Shongo Tedo. John says from Lagos. John, it would be nice to know where in Lagos you're joining us from. Kelechi is joining from Ogun State. All right. Adenike from Ibadan. It would be nice to know where in Ibadan. Ibadan is way bigger than Lagos. So we like to know, is it Mokola, Songo, wherever it is. Rukewe Akpobi is joining us from Lagos. It's great to have you, Rukewe. You are from my mother's place, Mavo, I like to say. Kayode Afatai says, Wahab. Sorry, my name is Wahab Kayode from Lagos. Favor says, oh, I am currently transiting from Bayelsa to Ibadan. I wish you a safe transit to Ibadan. All right, Jamil from Lagos. Okay, fantastic, great, all right. Awesome, great. Okay. Just reading some messages that I must have missed, but I think I got everything now. I'm joining in from Accra. Recently moved into Accra last year. So far, it's been really sunny. Accra is way sunnier than Lagos. Quite similar temperature as well. When it rains in Lagos, it also rains here most of the time. It's a place that is scattered with a lot of beaches, and I think it's one of the things that fascinates me about the town. So I'm really, really excited to be joining you from Accra at the moment. So I'll jump right in. Like the topic on the screen says, we are here for a workshop, problem solving, solving current day challenges on the job and in your business. Pretty basic, but very, very important. Like I said, there is nothing basic about the basics, and there is nothing common about common sense. Usually where people fail at are usually the things that are very, very common, especially in Africa. One common things that I've seen and I've gotten feedback from a lot of people who work internationally is that we are smart, we are great, we are ingenious, we are this, we are that, but we fail in the little details. And I like to say that the devil is in the little details. If you can get the small details of your life intact, the bigger rocks are usually not a problem, right? But usually the small details. So as much as it looks like it's a topic that seems commonplace, right? Solving problems, because you solve problems all the time. Why is it relevant to talk about solving problems in your job if you already do it anyways? All right, so but before we jump into the course or the workshop today, I'll just do a small introduction. I like to see myself as a lifelong learner, and I have been in a lot of roles, especially roles that are fitted to that philosophy that I believe in, which is lifelong learning. And they've taken different shapes and sizes. At one time, I was a training coordinator. At one time, I was an L&D specialist. At one time, I was a leading training. At one time, so at different times of my career, I had fit into that lifelong learning role. All right, but right now, I like to call myself a consultant, right? And I've been in nonprofit for about 3 years. I have a background, first degree in production engineering, second degree in production engineering. That usually raises a lot of questions when I'm in interviews or having conversations. Why engineering when you are in training and development? That's a story for another day. Also worked with financial services consulting, as well as in nonprofit space. Currently founded a nonprofit called Me to Men for Boys. something I also feel passionate about. I've had over more than 7 years experience in creating virtual and in-person class, and I train over 1,000 professionals every year. Least to say is, one thing is whenever I'm given an opportunity to speak to young people, or people generally, I'm super excited, right? Slightly anxious, but super excited because it feels like there's a lot to give. And I'm wondering if 2 hours is enough to share some of the key insights that I would like us to have today. Before we go in, I'd just like to know, how do you feel this morning? It's a very, very interesting question I like to ask whenever I'm in my training sessions, right? So tell me in one word, how do you feel this morning? It'd be nice to know how you feel this morning. For those of you joining me from different parts of Nigeria, it would be great to know, how are you feeling this morning? For me, my slide, I don't know why I can't share and see this. I think I'll have to share again so that I can have my screen as well so that I can see the chat box easily. Okay, all right. I can see buzzing comments. Chama says, I feel cold. Okay, cold is a physical sensation. How do you really feel, right? Feeling is more than how you're sensing. It's more than the physical sensations that you have, like hungry, tired. Those are physical sensations. How you feel really is an emotion, right? And it ranges for a lot of things: anxiety, joy, happiness, sadness, surprised. It ranges. So cool and relaxed. Okay, Lawal, thank you very much. For me, I'm slightly anxious because there's a lot to talk about and I'm crunched for time. And I don't like to keep people beyond their time. So I know that you guys, some of you are in your jobs. So it'd be great to, really do this and stick to the time. But I would also like to hear the voices of some people. If you're there, you can just come off mute and just tell me, something about you that you like us to know. It would be great to just hear someone's voice apart from my voice. It would be great for me to hear that. Anyone would like to go first? Anybody? Anyone?
Hello, I'd like to go first.
Okay.
This is Rukewe speaking.
Rukewe, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm fine. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. So tell us something about you.
I'm Rukewe by name. I'm someone who is very positive and passionate about offering outstanding customer services, and I'm very excited to participate in this problem-solving section, and I know it will help me a long way in solving problems because I'm always delighted to solve problems.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much, Rukewe. That was really crisp. Customer service, for me, I think it's a bane of most organizations, right? How we interact with customers, how we handle them effectively could be the make or break for any organization. So how long have you been in customer service? I'm curious to know.
I'm actually my 4th year.
Oh, fantastic. All right. You're slightly becoming a veteran. Well done. Great.
Thank you.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Rukewe, for being the first to speak. Anyone else would like to speak?
Hello, good morning. This is Olamide.
All right. Olamide, welcome.
So something about me. I love to practice yoga, and I am pretty excited about the solving topic that we're doing today, because it's one of the things I kind of struggle with sometimes. So I'm really excited to hear more about it. And so one fun fact about me would be that I have dreadlocks. I've been keeping it for 6 years.
Wow.
And people find it weird that it's this long for 6 years. Yes.
Wow. You're bold. That's great. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. What do you currently do? Are you an entrepreneur or you work?
So I'm currently unemployed. Yeah, I
Okay.
recently got my customer service training via Wave
Oh, fantastic.
like in May. Yes,
Oh,
April.
fantastic. All right,
Yes.
great, fantastic. I'm very certain you're on the right course. You have the skills and the opportunity to become whatever you imagine. So
Yeah.
good luck to you on that journey. Hope to hear good
Thank
news
you.
very, very soon. All right, we'll take one more person. Then I will jump in right in. Anyone? The last? Would like to be the last? Anyone else? Thank you, Olamide. Thank you, Rukewe. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm sorry. I'd like to just say some pointers about myself. One of the things if you can see my screen, you see a picture of Richard Branson. Is one of my core, I would like to say one of my distant mentors. He runs a lot of companies, hundreds of small companies across the world. One of the biggest companies he has is the Virgin Airways, Virgin Galactical, and the likes. He's one of the people who like to go to space, like Elon Musk, and the billionaires out there who want to explore new frontiers. I like him because he's a larger than life personality. He talks about his family. You can almost tell that he's someone who respects work-life balance and builds very innovative and strong companies, which is something I would like to also do in my life journey as well. I like to watch football. I don't like to play football because I think it's a very dangerous sport, and I support Chelsea. To all the Chelsea fans in the house, up Blues. I like to run. I love to run 3 times a week. It also helps calm my anxiety, strengthens me, and boosts my confidence. I rarely skip a week without, this late night ritual. And since I moved to Accra, it's something I like to do at night, particularly because it feels safer here. So it's something I enjoy doing a lot. I love urban and contemporary hip hop, particularly hip hop from the 90s and slightly into the 2000s, early 2000s. And particularly one notable singer that I like a lot is Bruno Mars. Has a lovely voice, has that sweat, thing about him. I love ice cream, particularly when I get, when I like to reward myself, particularly after a tough project or something spectacular happens, and I'm like, okay, you know what? If you've earned this, go get some ice cream. So I like to drink red wine, particularly because of its health benefits. One of my best places in the world is at the beach. I am someone who likes to always be at the beach whenever I find the time to go through. And I live very close to the beach, so it's just like 30 minutes away. Sometimes when I just want to go to relax, I just get myself there. I love to read non-fiction. I love to read. You can't be in the learning and development business without being a reader. If you're not reading, you're doing something wrong. People say readers are leaders. I think it's gone beyond, leaders are readers, right? Some people have been able to wing through life without reading. And the downside of that is they raise up people who naturally become like them. And that's the sad part. That's the downward spiral of not being a reader, because you don't get to challenge the status quo, and you also don't encourage people to challenge status quo, right? Matrix, one of my best movies of all time. All right, it was in the 2000s, I think sometime in 2005, or I can't recall, but it was a really great movie. One of the reasons why I love the Matrix. Neo, the character in that movie, that was personified by Keanu Reeves. It was really like saying the whole world. It was like post-apocalyptic era where AI had taken over the world, where everybody was subsumed into a machine. People thought they were really living, but they were actually being kept in a machine and made to live a virtual reality world. He was one of the few people who was able to break free from that virtual reality prison that AI had plugged every human being in, and he sought to destroy the big machine and bring people out of their sleep. One of my favorite movies, favorite food is banga and starch. It's a delicacy in Southwest, especially in Delta states. I love to go to the gym. I like to watch CNN, and I like to play basketball. I'm going to be asking these questions as we go or to see if you remember anything. All right, so we've done our introductions. I'd like to just jump right into the course of today. But before we jump in, I'd like to ask a question. What do you hope to learn from this session? But my time is 8:24, so it means we have roughly an hour, 36 minutes left. This is 1 hour, 36 minutes. Like I like to say in every of my training session, which is true, is a time you can never get back. And I know a lot of you will be tempted to multitask, go to your phones, do things together. It's easy to be tempted. Trust me, I've been there. But I would like you all to just say to myself, okay, who's this guy speaking to me? I'm in a workshop. How can I derive value by just focusing on this guy and making sure that this 1 hour, 36 minutes left is it counts for something? What are the 2 key things or 3 key things that I hope to learn from this session that I'm going to be using on my job or will help me in my business? So anyone, you can go to the chat box and put it in the chat box. Let me know, what do you hope to learn from today's session? What do you hope to learn? Quickly go to the chat box. It could be one word, it could be one sentence, whatever it is. It will be great to know what your expectations of what your expectations are for this session. Be really great to have that. So I'm just going to pause here and sneak through the back door into the chat box and see what's buzzing. Anyone? But if you feel like you would like to articulate it, you can, just raise your hands up and I'll reach out to you to speak up if you would like. Olamide, yes, thank you for being the first. Olamide says, I would like to become a problem solver. Okay, great. Oteri, Ogenetari says, I want to understand the creativity thinking. All right, creative thinking behind problem solving. Okay, fantastic. Great. All right. Lawal says, I would like to learn how to solve problems. Sorry, my screen is moving really, really fast. So I'm trying to catch up. I'd like to learn how to solve a problem. Okay. Hayode Fatai says, I want to improve my problem solving skills while building human relations skills. Okay. Favor says, getting problem solving skills. Choma says, basic tips of problem solving. Rukere says, how to resolve problems in a creative manner. Fantastic. All right, fantastic. So I hear improve problem solving skills. I hear understand the principles. I hear people who want to become that person, right? It's not just about learning the tips. They also want to become that personality. And like I said, there are 3 things every training program always does. They either improve your knowledge base about a new subject or an old subject. They teach you new skills, right? And they develop a certain kind of attitude. So there are 3 things every training program must strive to do: give you knowledge, teach you new skills, and improve your attitude. So I see that scattered around the chat box. I hear people wanting to learn new skills, which we hope we'll be able to cover in the short amount of time that we have. I hear people want to learn new things, new ways of doing things. I also hear people who want to become things, who want to become the personality that is said to be a problem solver. All right, great, fantastic. Thank you guys for sharing that. Now, so I'm just going to do a short poll, which is really, really key. I prepared something that I'm going to post on the chat box now for us to go into that site to just tell me. I'd like to just know something, and I hope you can see the question in the chat box. Zoom is really, really acting out this morning. So please bear with me. All right, so can you all see the link that I posted? Please don't type anything so that people can have access to that link now. You're just going there with this code. Once you go there, you ask for a code. Please just log into that and just join in there. All right, so just let me know if you are able to access the link. All right, so can we access the link? If you can, please let me know. It would be nice to know. Hello? Okay, thank you, Terry, for giving me that feedback. I would like to, okay, so if you can access the link, please go there. It's going to bring like a word bubble. Thank you, Lawal. Thank you, everyone who has been able to get the link or access the link. I'm going to share it now. Okay. All right, fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Adenike. Okay. All right. So, okay, I'm already seeing comments. Oof, it's a lot. All right, so it's a quick question. What do you consider to be the biggest problem you have faced or currently facing in your business, at work? See if I can present. Okay, I think it's much better. All right, so I can see comments now. Please just click on menti.com. You see the link that you have there. Just click it. It takes you to the word cloud quiz or survey, whatever you like to call it. All right, what do you consider to be the biggest problem you have faced or currently facing in your business or at work? All right, so for two sets of people, for those who are in business and for those who are also in paid employment, we'd like to know. So I'm just going to take an extra 30 seconds. Hopefully those joining in will be able to access the link quickly. What do you consider to be the biggest problem you have? All right, so I see there are no longer any comments buzzing in. So I see problem solving. I see solution to the problem. Being able to provide I don't know what that is. Being misunderstood, fear of not what, work deadlines, exactly, information error, time management. These are very, very valid problems, especially the last three, four problems. I like to assume fear of not getting things done. I would like to know what that is. Okay, still coming in. Work deadlines, comprehension of excuse me, comprehension of deep excuse me, comprehension of details. Okay. Okay, time management. All right, so fantastic. You're not alone. These are also some of the common problems that we face, everyone, regardless of your career level. These are common problems that we face as well. I see new ones coming in. Time management, fixed mindset. Okay, profiling the appropriate, I see appropriate solution. Oof, okay. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for sharing your thoughts around the key problems. And some of the problems that I may discuss are centered around some of these key things that you talked about. How do we break through that fixed mindset that holds us back? How do we walk through deadlines? How do we ensure that we get clarity? How do we manage time? How do we communicate effectively, manage human problems, find appropriate solutions to problems, work around deadlines, and many others? So I think we are, that sort of gives me context around what you're thinking and where your headspace is around some of the key big problems that you face at work. All right, thanks guys. I'm going to reshare my screen again. Okay, Hope you can see my screen. Okay. All right, so back to the matter. All right, so I also like to know, I mean, I know that this is a split audience, right? So it'd be nice to also go to the chat box, let me know who are those, I mean, like someone mentioned earlier, you could be transiting between jobs, which is fine. So, but just let me know, just put job or business so that I can have a sense of the percentage of people who are currently in paid employment or looking for paid employment and those who work. That also helps me know, the quality or the variety of the audience currently at the moment. So thank you, Olamide. Olamide is for job. So just go to the chat box and just put job or business. That gives me a sense of where you are. Are you currently are you currently in a job or you are running a business? Which is it? So just put job or business. All right, thank you, Olamide. Rukewe, thank you, job. Job or business. 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 All right, great. Thank you, Choma. Thank you, Form. Thank you, Kayode. Thank you, Kewe. Terry says unemployed. All right, fantastic. Great. All right. I mean, it's safe to say that over 50% of people here are currently looking for or currently in a job or running a business. Okay, currently looking for, looking for or currently in a job. All right, that's a safety. So that allows me to really, narrow down some of the examples because I believe in design thinking, right? Design with an end in mind, design with the user in mind. So this allows me to know to focus more on those who are in jobs for this workshop. Okay, great, fantastic. All right, so we spent the last 20 to 30 minutes doing some introduction and housekeeping. Let's jump into the course of the day. And we're going to be moving really quickly from now. So I'd like to start with this quote. I'm sure during your weight training, you had this quote being highlighted as well. This quote is evergreen. There is nowhere you can talk about problem solving without talking about Albert Einstein. Like my Nigerian folks who say Einstein. I hear that a lot and it just makes me chuckle. Albert Einstein. Really great quotes. I'm sure you heard it a lot. There are a lot of variations out there. Some people say 59 minutes. Some people say 55 minutes. Some people say 50 minutes. It does not matter. Einstein is quoted saying, if he had 1 hour to save the world, let's say he's a Superman, and there's a meteorite coming from Mars wanting to blow up the world. Don't mind me, I like movies a lot. In fact, one of the approaches I use in a lot of my training programs, I use movies to train a lot. The last movie that I used to train on leadership was Invictus. So I use movies a lot. They, especially Hollywood movies, they are loaded with a lot of anecdotes, scenarios that can be leveraged for training purposes. So imagine you being a superhero. You have your name written on your your suit, your super suits, right? If it's favored, there's F on it, and you have your cape, and you're flying around the world, and you have 1 hour to save the world. There's a huge meteorite, a huge asteroid, coming to destroy the world, destroy all humanity, and send us back to the ice age. And you have 1 hour to save the world. Einstein says he's going to spend 55 minutes defining the problem. Then he's going to take the next 5 minutes finding the solution. It looks very obvious. I'm sure there's a lot of interpretations of what this means. But the one fundamental thing that I find interesting about this is that Einstein brings us to a point, it changes our mindset around where we should have our focus first. Where should we have our focus first when we are confronted with a problem? The default mindset that we typically have is to respond or to react, not even respond. We obey, I think, the third law of motion, Newton's motion, which says action and reaction are equal and opposites. So an action happens, we react. We acting again from a different perspective, which is you just doing exactly what has been done to you. Something happens, you react. That is our default biological way of reacting to issues, which is normal, but it helped us survive over the course of evolution. If you believe in evolution, for those who don't believe it, it has allowed us to survive over the thousands of years. Scientists say billions of years, millions of years. But whichever you believe in, it has helped us survive because we quickly react just in case there is danger. But that does not help us in the 21st century. When we react rather than when we respond, when we react instead of responding, we miss out on key details that allows us to be effective problem solvers. So it's very, very key. One of the things I would like you to note is always pause and reflect, regardless of how complex the problem is. Always take time to pause. All right? Take time to pause. Between stimulus and response, you have the choice to choose. First of all, pause to reflect, then you choose your next step. Once you miss this very major, I'm going to be making a lot of tautology. That just shows the emphasis I have on this mindset. Once you miss these basic mindsets, there is really nothing I can share with you that would make sense or that would improve your problem solving skills or that would help you solve current day challenge. Because regardless of the times that we are, all problems typically follow the same pattern of being solved. Maybe not the how, but the approach really is the same, right? If you go through scriptures, if you go through history, if you go through, the way things have been done, most things are solved the same way. Gain understanding. My people perish for lack of knowledge. If you don't have knowledge, you can't solve a problem. You need your eyes. Once your eyes of understanding is shut, you would err. I can go on and on. When your paths are crooked, you have no direct path, direct understanding of what you need to do. You would make mistakes. You would spend a long time doing the same thing, right? If you go back to scriptures or, history, you will hear stories about people who wandered around a particular place for 40 days. For 40 years, for something they could have gone for 40 days. Once you don't have understanding, once your eyes cannot see, do not understand what is my problem, you have not started solving your problem. The day you wake up and say, I have a problem, that is the day your morning starts. Your morning does not start when the sun shines. It's the day you realize that, I am in the dark and it's about morning. What do I do next? So Einstein, this quote is evergreen. Spend time understanding things before you jump into solving things. Check. That's something I like to do. I like to say check. So go to the chat box. If you are with me, say check, 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 check. That allows me to know whether I'm just talking to myself or I'm actually with, co-pilots in this journey of learning. All right, check times 10. Thank you, Olamide. Olamide said check, check, check times 10. Thank you, Olamide. Thank you, Adenike. Thank you, Favor. Okay, this is really reassuring. Oh, fantastic. Great, 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 great. Awesome. All right, thank you very much. All right, so what's a problem? Now, fundamentally, people would like to say a problem is this, a problem is that. In fact, I've heard a lot of Nigerians, we are very religious as Nigerians. It's not just Nigerians, even outside Nigeria, especially in Africa. When you say, do you have a problem? God forbid, I don't have a problem. Oh, I can't be a problem. I'm like, I think there is something about the word problem that people think makes it very, very bad to talk about, right? So when somebody says, I have a problem, oh, you don't have a problem. Don't say things that are wrong about yourself. No, that's, there's a place for positive affirmation, for positivity speaking. But when you don't understand something, you would say, you fear what you do not understand, right? When I tell people that, when they talk about their problems, I say it's not a problem. What you actually, it's a problem, yes, but I like to always see, I don't see problems as obstacles. I see problems as operating conditions. The moment you are able to switch your mind from seeing things as being an obstacle a problem as being an obstacle, and rather like an operating condition, or you see it as an opportunity to learn, if you see it as something that is causing me to get better, it switches, your brain juice switches, your thinking paradigm switches when you begin to think about problems in a different perspective. All right, see it as an operating condition, see it as an opportunity to grow, then you embrace problems. And I tell people, you can't, when I say, oh, I'm a consultant, right? The only thing we do as a consultant is problem solving. In fact, consulting is synonymous to problem solving. All right, what you're simply doing as a consultant is saying, helping like I said earlier, sometimes people know their problem, right? Sometimes they just don't know how to go about it because 1, laziness, 2, they don't have the framework, 3, they don't have the time, 4, they are just unwilling to go through the process, which still goes back to the first challenge, laziness, the desire, the motivation to do it yourself. And that's why they hire a coach, they hire a consultant. They don't have the time, they don't have the energy, they don't have the resources. It's not their core, right? So there are many reasons, right? Fundamentally, time, resources, skill, knowledge, they don't have all that. And that's why they hire a consultant. And it's believed that a consultant comes with experience, with framework, with insights, but the consultant really does not do anything extraordinary, like I like to say. What the consultant does is they help you clarify. They help take the mental work of pausing and reflecting, like Einstein says. They take the time on it to define what the problem is. Really, a consultant helps you find the solution. No consultant gives you the solution. They just ask questions. They learn. They inquire. They interrogate. They break status quo. They break fixed mindset. They allow people to explore. And that's what we really do. We are not, there's nothing, we are not magicians, right? Like I said, everyone has the answer to their problem. It's just people don't take time to reflect. So I would like to define a problem as simply this. You are here. This is where you want to go to. The larger that gap is the larger your problem. The closer that gap is, the smaller your problem is. So a problem is simply, where am I right now? If you don't know where you are right now, you would not know where you want to go to. You see, that's the major problem. People at the beginning of the year say, I want to be this, I want to be that. I have 10 things I want to become. I want to lose weight. I want to become the best in my career. I want to get this certification. I want to learn ABCD. But they don't ask themselves the question, where am I right now? In 2022, January 1st, where am I right now? Where am I right now? That also allows you to be grateful for the things you have, but not just that, not just the approach of being grateful, it also allows you to have a baseline. If you don't know where you are, you don't know where you need to get to. If you don't know where you are right now, you don't know where you need to get to. So one of the things I would implore you, as you go back to your job, ask yourself, where am I right now? Where am I right now in terms of knowledge, in terms of career, in terms of personal development, in terms of growth, in terms of relationships? Where am I right now? Can I give myself a 5, a 4, or a 3? What do I currently have? Do I know Excel? Do I have quality relationships? How many friends do I have? How many people in my life can I speak to right now that can help me solve my problems? Do I have the right academic degree qualification? Do I have the right kinds of experience? Do I have the amount of knowledge? If I do, how much is it? It's really critical to know where you are right now, or else you will not know where you need to get to. Check. Check. Let's know if you're still in the house. All right. Thank you, Olamide Kabiru. Fantastic. I know I still have people in the house. Awesome. So a problem is really the gap between your current state and the desired state. So first question I want you to take home today, where am I right now in my journey? Where am I right now? And I want you to look at it in all aspects of your life. Look at it from your physical health. Where am I right now? I want you to also look at your mental health. Like I like to say, we are a spirit living in we have a spirit that has a soul living in the body, right? So where am I right now in terms of my spiritual level? Where am I right now in terms of my soul? When I talk about my soul, I'm talking about my, your work, right? Your emotions and your learning, your mind. What is the quality of my mind? What is the quality of my emotions? And what is the quality of my work? So that's what really makes up your soul, your will, your work, your emotions, and your mind. What are you thinking? What are the things you know? All right. What are the things that I know? What are the things, how do I feel? What are the kinds of emotions that I have? The kind of positive energy or negative energy that I have? And what am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What do I know? What do I feel? And what do I do? That makes up your mind. Then your physical health, all right? How healthy you are physically. That's the 5 major areas of every human life. Your spirit, your mind, your emotions, your work, and your physical health. Once you can write down somewhere, where am I in these areas? What's the quality of my relationship? What's the quality of my emotions? What's the quality of my work? All right, of the things that I know. What's the quality of my physical health? What's the quality of my spirit health? Once you put all that in perspective, you have a baseline for you to start to set goals. So once you come to a new job, always ask yourself, what don't I know? What don't I know? You see, when you start with the learner's mindset, half of your problems, if not more, will start to get solved. You will learn, what don't I know here? Where am I right now and where do I need to be? It's critical you always have this definition at the back of your mind. So we jump into, now we know what a problem really is. How do we solve problems? And I like to say, the principles never get old. All right. The practice may change. How you cook Indomie does not really, can change. Excuse me. But the fundamental things stay the same. You need to have water. You need to have the sauce. You need to have a cooking stove. Fundamentals. The how can change, but the why really doesn't change. And the principles really don't change. So across my journey in terms of talking about problem solving and in consulting, everything falls into those 3 major questions. What? So what? Now what? 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 Whenever you're confronted with a new project, a client wants to improve performance, a client is struggling with low motivation, people are leaving, people are not, profits are going down because of poor customer service. What? So what? Now what? Once you are confronted with, once you are able to walk through every problem using this, mindset, what, so what, now what? Remember, like I said, a problem is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. I don't have the right experience, is where I am. I want to have right experience. How large is where I am to where I want to be? It determines how large your problem is. The bigger the gap, the bigger the problem. And also the larger the solution should be. So always think things in perspective. Where am I now? What is my problem? What is the problem? What is the problem now? What is the problem, and where do I want to be? So what, so what, now what? So what simply says, describe the problem. Like what we like to say in WAVE, we say, see the problem. You see, sight is very, very important. If you don't see something, you can't, that's why the good book says, when you have a vision, write it down. Doesn't mean writing it down means it allows your, scientifically, when you write things down, it allows your visual cortex, which is at the back of your brain, close to your memory, to imprint it into your subconscious. When you see things, you are able to start a process of solving the problem. So You need to be able to tell yourself, describe, what do I notice? What is standing out? Take, one of the common workplace problems we have, time management, like you said, I don't get things done on time. What do I notice whenever I get projects? I notice that I most times get overwhelmed with too much information. So you're noticing that you're beginning to notice a personality of someone who is tuned to perfectionism, or who's scared of new things, or who gets too excited about new things, and their motivation fizzles out over time. When you're able to describe what goes on when you have that problem, you are on your way to solving the problem. People say in their business, oh, customer service is down. You ask yourself, okay, why is customer service down? You need to be able to describe the problem in a one statement. We are losing money by 25%. Profit is down by so amount of time. I am not getting promoted because XYZ. I lack knowledge in XYZ. I am trying to lose weight from X to Y. I don't have this and I need this. You need to be able to describe what the problem is in a one sentence statement. No matter how complex the problem is, if you can't describe it in a one sentence, it is not well described. So it's really, really important to know what first, and you move to the so what. So what is simply saying why. Why is it even important? You need to be able to understand why. Not all problems need to be solved now. Some problems should be ignored. Some problems should be solved later. Some problems should be solved now. The ability to know why something needs to be solved and why is a problem, it's very critical. Now you've defined what a problem is. You need to know why it's even a problem. Why? Who is it affecting? How large is it? If I don't do something about it now, what will happen in the next 5 minutes, next 5 hours, the next 5 days, next 5 weeks, the next 5 years? Right? So what? Okay, I have a problem. So what? Why should I bother? You need to understand and ask questions. Get an understanding. Get clarity. Get clarity. Get clarity. Clarity is really key before you even think about solving problems. Then the next thing now says, now what? So you talked about the what. Why is it a problem? What is the problem? So what? Why is it a problem? Now what? What do I do about it? Remember, when your solution is not that's why I use this definition. It's very, very key. You can be solving a problem, yes, but if that solution is not at the scale, I use the word scale. If it's not at the scale of the problem, you are not really doing anything. If your problem is going faster than the scale in which you are solving it, you are wasting time. I'll give you an example. Someone is having malaria, very simple example. Someone is having malaria and they're having symptoms of malaria, which is fever, nausea. Now, the scale of the problem is you have a plasmodium in your system, and the plasmodium requires some amount of medication to fight it over the course of 3 days, right? Now, you take a solution that is short-term, like buying painkillers, which solves the symptom. Now, you are solving a symptom, which is a part of the problem, which is okay, but not sufficient enough. Now, when the fever comes, you take the painkiller and it helps alleviate that symptom, but the plasmodium is still there. You are not solving the problem. You're just nipping it at the bud. Another example, I had a client, I worked with a client who was always complaining about, lack of motivation, was always complaining about poor customer service, was always complaining about people not getting things done. He now came to us, I want you to teach us customer service, time management. I'm like, oh God, hold on. You see, we are not drug dealers. Consultants are not drug dealers. Don't say, I have a problem, give me a solution and you buy. No, we will diagnose. By the time we went on asking, what does success look like for you? Remember, always know where you want to be, as well as knowing where the problem is. We ask questions like, what does success look like for you? Oh, I want to have a state where people in my organizations are able to take ownership of their job. They are able to interface with customers, and they are able to also understand that it's a business and they would like to be a part of it. That is where he wants to be. Okay, I want to ask, what are the key three things that is affecting your business? Oh, they don't listen. So he begins to highlight where his people are, and he has told us where he wants to be. Our job is now to explain to him how large the problem is, and to allow him to understand that whatever he's thinking about is really not solving the problem, is solving just the symptom. So rather than just come and say, okay, we will do training program for you. Okay, what is customer service? You all have to be good customer service. The customer is king. The customer is king. Treat him, they will say yes, yes, and they go back. And the real cause of the problem is by the time we diagnose, we have to realize that the performance management system of his organization is poor. People don't get rewarded for being exceptionally creative. So over time, when people come in, first 90 days, they're doing so well. By their 90th day, they no longer have the motivation to continue because excellent performance is not rewarded. We told him that even if we take all the training, when people don't get rewarded for doing exceptional work, they would lose motivation. So we have to upend a performance management system, which was the root cause of that poor customer service, lack of motivation, and the likes. So you always have to address a problem at the scale in which that problem is. People say when you are confronted with big problems, you have to approach it. When things have happened to you I'm missing the code right now. When you are faced with a big problem, you have to think in a big way. When you are faced with a small problem, you might think in a small way, but when you are faced with a big problem, you have to start thinking in a way that you've never thought before. All right. So the solution you're looking for would match the quality of thinking that you are using at that time. Whether it's creative thinking, whether it's critical thinking, whether it's systematic thinking, whether it's strategic thinking, it depends on the problem. When you're looking for new ideas, you have to think creatively. When you're trying to understand why things work, you think critically. When you're trying to think long-term, 3-5 years, you think strategically. So your problem determines the kind of thinking that you need. New ideas does not really need critical thinking. New ideas need creative thinking. But when you need to also focus on resources, you need critical thinking. What is important now? What should I let go? Who is more important? Who should I reach? Critical thinking, you are focusing on the facts, logic. When you're thinking long term, what is important to us in the next 3 years? What should we start doing now that will put us in a position to become the market leader in 3-5 years? That is strategic thinking. So the type of problem you face will also determine the kind of thinking you use. Very, very important. The nature of the problem determines the kind of thinking. What worked for you yesterday or last year may not work for you today or in the next 5 years. You have to be ready to drop what worked for you yesterday. If you don't do that, you don't evolve as a problem solver. You have to be willing to let go of what worked for you yesterday. It also applies in relationship. In the first 3 to 4 years of your marriage, or first 3, let me use relationship. First 3-4 months of your relationship, it looks like a honeymoon. Boy meets girl. You guys go on dates. You spend time together. Then you realize that in your 5th month, you are now having more conflicts. You now think, oh, she's bad. She has this. Oh, he's bad. No, you guys are in a different stage of your relationship. And in a different stage of your relationship comes with a different kind of conflict. The thinking and the way you talk to her in the first 3-4 months is not the same way you are going to handle her in the next, or him in the next 1 year. And I think that also applies. People get stuck in the beginnings of things, and they think that things are not working, but they are stuck with the thinking that started that process. They don't know that the thinking that starts things might not be the thinking that would ride you through to the end. Just because you started working in your new job and think, you were doing things in a particular way does not mean that thing would hold, what would last that way forever. You have to be able to jump out of what you are used to doing and jump into something in a different way of working things. Check, check, check. Check. Do I have people in the house? Check. I'm checking to see if I still have my people. All right, fantastic. I have Chama Olamide. Fantastic. Great. All right, so like I said, the what is really seeing the problem. You can't work on something until you know what it is. If there's anything you take from a problem-solving class, learn the ability to resist the tendency to start working on something as soon as you know one exists. I have learned that the hard way. I have preferred solutions, because there is this tendency for consultants to always want to give you the answer. But I've learned the hard way to shut my mouth up and just ask and listen and reflect and observe. When you learn, if that's one skill you learn today, you are going to learn something very, very important. Olamide is asking a question. Okay, I'll put that in the parking lot and I'm going to go through it again towards the end of our workshop so that we don't lose track. Can you please go over the critical thinking and strategic thinking phrase again? I will do that towards the end. Thank you, Olamide, for bringing that up. So like I said earlier, resist the tendency to start working on problems as soon as you find one. Learn it. And I want you to learn it with your personal life. There was something I recently watched from the ace boxer called Mike Tyson. He said something, the way you fight your fights. Oh, somebody is bringing their outside world into our inner world. Okay. The way you fight your fights, your daily fight at work, will also be the way you fight your fight at life. It's very, very critical you pay attention. When you learn something, don't wait until you get to work before you apply those things. Start to apply it even in your personal life. The easiest way for me to even, like I said, the people around me, my family, my friends, my loved ones, they say, Ife, you're always doing like a trainer. I say, yes. How do I learn if I don't use what I learn? How do I learn? So you're most likely going to be my guinea pig. If I learn something about strategy, you are the first person I'm going to teach. Because I know that if I don't use it immediately, it is useless spending time learning things that you don't use. In fact, I tell people one of the common time waster is reading books that you don't use. I've told myself I'm not going to read a book without a plan to use what it is. It's a waste of time. People say, oh, read, expand your mind. If you don't use things, your mind is not expanding. The mind expands from contraction. You don't expand your muscles don't go bigger just by holding a light weight. That's what knowledge is. Your muscle grows bigger when you carry heavy weight and you contract. It's the contraction of your mind that really gets you, that makes learning important. It's very, very important. I remember if you go to who watched Game of Thrones? Who watched Game of Thrones? There's something in a particular episode, very, very important episode. Lord Baelish comes to Cersei, the queen, and tells Cersei, I'm a man of knowledge. I'm a man of this. I hear everything. Knowledge is power. Do you know what Cersei told him? Guards, kill this man. And the next thing, 4 guards come from nowhere, grabs a sword, and almost wants to cut his neck. Then she now says, stop. She now tells the guy that knowledge is not power. Power is power. All right. So like I said, movies are really great. When I learned that, I'm like, what? That is so true. Knowledge that is not applied is useless. It doesn't matter what you know. If you don't use it, it is useless. So it's really critical that we don't just take things, learn things, and don't use them. It is waste of time to be in a training program or a workshop for 1 hour, 2 hours, and without an intention to apply. Waste of time. It's best to just stay at work looking for money than to join a training program without saying, what am I going to take from here to do? So if you're going to take something from this training or this workshop, is resist the tendency to work on anything without thinking and asking critical questions. Why is this a problem? What is this? Why is it, what is the problem? And it's really, really critical to be able to define your problem in one sentence. Albeit complex it may be or complicated it may be, you must be able to define it in one sentence. Very, very critical. Put it in a one sentence problem statement, no matter how complex it is. I don't have enough money to do this. That's my problem. I want to improve my business by X to Y. I want to lose weight from 92 to 93. sorry, from 92, from 92 to 83 in 1 year. You need to know what your problem is in one sentence. So like I said, we are a spirit with a soul living in the body. So I want you all to go home today and do what we call an organogram goal setting. Really, really important. All right, where you really look at the 5 key areas of your life: your spirit, your mind, your emotions, your work, and your physical health. These are the 5 areas of your life that needs to be built. Where are the key problems in these areas of my life? Focus on one, please. I always tell them, the more you work on too many things, all right, the less chances you get them done. Have a goal for 5 of these things. I want to have a goal for my spirit, the quality of my spirit. I want to have one goal. What is the key problem in my mind, in the way I think, in my knowledge base that I need to close? If I'm able to close that one problem this year, I am successful. In my emotions, the quality of my relationships. Can I say the quality of relationships that I have with my friends, with my loved ones, can I say it's a 10? Do I have the right networks? Do I move around with the right kinds of people? Who are the kinds of people that I need to meet? Where am I right now? Where do I want to be? One goal. Work, quality of my work. What do I know? What skills do I have? What experience do I have? What have I accomplished? What do I want to accomplish? One goal. Physical health. Very, very important. I see people planning so much about their careers and they don't plan about their physical health. The health is the body is the vehicle to move you from where you need to go to. How can your spirit and your mind work when you have a body that does not work well? Really, really critical that you set goals around these 5 core areas of your life. Put it in one sentence. So what? So what is really saying what? So what? Why? It's really saying, taking time to say, what is the problem? What is the root cause? You have workplace conflicts. What is the cause? Why is this happening? You don't get promoted because you lack X, Y, Z. Why is this a problem? Why am I experiencing this problem? All right. You don't have the skills and the experience. Why? You are unable to, you don't have influence in your workplace. Why? So what? What is the cause of this? It could be your background. It could be your experience. It could be a lack of information. Being able to say, so what? Okay, so now you say, oh, this is the part. So what? What is the cause? Knowing the root cause is really, really important. Knowing when and when it started, right? Being able to pause and reflect. Okay, when did this start? How long has it been going on? And who has been affected over the course of my life? Some people, just by pausing and asking themselves questions about their previous work relationships, personal relationships, only then can they break free from what they need to do going forward. You need to be able to reflect back. What did I do wrong in my previous work experiences or personal experiences? What have I learned? What can I do better? It's really, really critical you always pause and reflect. There's no shame in making mistakes, but there is a shame when you don't change or you don't get better or you don't learn from it. It's really that's the shame. That's the problem. When people make the same mistake over and over and over and over again, insanity is when people do the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's madness. So that's where the sad thing is, when people make the same mistake. And people will make the same mistakes when they don't reflect, when they don't pause and ask themselves, what went wrong? What could I do differently? Bearing in mind with what I know now, what could I have done with that person? How could I have said it to that person? How could I have spoken to my boss? How could I have handled that customer? How could I have managed that conflict? How could I have managed that project? And that's why at the end of every project, we always evaluate. What are the key lessons? What are the reviews? What are the lessons learned? If you're not learning, you're not growing. It's not enough to do. You need to also learn. So it's really, really critical at the end of solving a problem, you pause and say, what could I have even done differently? I could have said this differently, like I would do at the end of this training program, right? I would also pause and say, could I have said something better? Could I have managed time better? Could I have used these examples better? And that's why every of my single training programs are never the same. watch the videos, go back to the trainings, ask my trainees. They will all have different experience because I review what I do. If you don't review what you do, you will never do anything better or different. Review what you do so that you can do things differently and better as you go on. So what is asking yourself why the problem is. And I'll give you an example. Now, like I said, a problem statement should be in a sentence. So I want you all, for those who would like to share, in one sentence, go to the chat box and just write out, if you are bold enough to tell us the biggest problem that you face in your job, the biggest problem. Like I said, a problem is a gap between where you are and where you want to be. The biggest problem you have in your job right now, in one sentence, say it, describe it. Now, if you look at, whilst you do that, please go to the chat box, write that out. Remember, I said when you write things, when you make things plain, you are sending it to your visual cortex and it is imprinting it in your subconscious. Once you are able to learn how to write things down, it helps you articulate your thoughts and it clears your mind. Write things down, journal. So thank you, Olamide, for being the first. I appreciate you for being the first. I don't function well under pressure. Fantastic. Thank you for being very vulnerable to explain, to really define what your problem is. It means you struggle to work under pressure. Now, it brings you to the question, why do you struggle to work under pressure? The 5 whys. Very, very important technique. It works like magic if you are patient and you understand how it works. So if you look at my example, it says, our client is refusing to pay for leaflets we printed for him. That's the problem. The first why is our client refusing to pay for leaflets? It says, the delivery was late, so the leaflet couldn't be used. It begs another question. Why was the delivery late? Because it took the job longer than we expected. Why did it take the job longer than expectation? We ran out of printer ink. Why did you run out of printer ink? The ink was all used on a large last-minute order. Why did we use all our ink on a last-minute order? Because we don't have enough ink and we could not order new supplies in time. Now, by pausing to understand and digging deep through the problem, the solution opens itself up to you. Really, every problem is just an opportunity in disguise. Every problem you face is an opportunity in disguise. Have that in the back of your mind. If you jump in to start, let's creative something. We stop at the beginning. Our client is refusing to pay for, and you stop. Okay, we'll do time management. We'll make sure that we get things done. You are not solving the problem. You are stuck in the superficial thinking. You are still at the surface. Now, what is the solution? Find an ink supplier who can deliver at short notice. Is the solution to the problem. Because the problem is not that they don't have time management. The problem is not that, somebody forgot. The problem is that sometimes when they have very large minute order, their printer stock plummets. So they need someone who can fill their needs in short demand without keeping things, so they're able to respond to customer demand. That's the real problem. The problem is not time management. The problem is an inventory problem. They need to have access to someone who can supply them ink at short notice. They need to have that supplier, all right? So once you are able to understand your problem clearly, the solution opens itself up to you. Check. Type check in the chat box. Let me know whether you're following. Check, guys. Check. Okay, thank you, Chinamdu. Thank you, Nadenike. Fantastic. Thank you, Olamide. All right, so another problem, the client refuses to pay progress payment. Yes, this happens a lot in consulting. We have this problem a lot, all right? Where, you bidded for a project, the customer pays you initial payment, and you've implemented certain phases of the project, then the customer stops paying you. Something starts happening. So quick question you can ask, why is my client refusing to pay progress payments? Why? We completed the activity late. Okay, that could be a reason. Why did you complete it late? Because the activity took longer than estimated. Why did the activity take longer than estimated? Because we couldn't get the materials we need. Why couldn't we get the materials that we need? Because we didn't purchase it on time. Why did we purchase it on time? Because we did not analyze the work schedule. So the problem had been from the get-go. They did not have a timeline plan. Right? They did not analyze the time work line. They didn't know how long it takes for you to make an order. When they were telling the clients, "Oh, I can do this," consultants would like to promise the world. The client will tell you, build me something, build me a spaceship, and they give you a ship's budget. We say, yes, we can do it, because we're always thinking of creative ways of solving a problem. And when we start now, what this guy is asking me to do, look at the budget. So it's really a big problem that consultants all over the world have, where we underestimate the amount of time it takes to really get our resources. So we will always have meet our clients. We'll sometimes not meet our clients' demand because we are too eager to get the job, and we don't analyze how long it takes to always get a job done. So, which is a very, very big problem that service organizations usually have. They don't analyze how long it takes to get something done. So, moving on. So now that you know what the problem is, you've seen the problem in your mind's eye and it's written down in one sentence. You now know why it's a problem. You've gone to the root cause by asking 5 whys. Why, and why. You know the root cause. It has opened itself up. You now realize that, okay, there are 3, 4, 5 ways I can solve this problem, right? Now what? Now what do I do? You now create an action plan. The truth about the matter is, if you're able to do 5 whys, you don't really need to do a lot of creative thinking anymore. Like I said, sometimes some things would just fly into your eye, like, let's do this. Why don't we have a backup supplier? The answers just naturally come to light. And that's why we tell people reflecting is not waste of time. Pausing to think things through, it's not waste of time. It's when you think through things that solutions, they just come naturally. You don't need to think. We have the answers to everything only when we can pause and reflect. So what would you do first? What would you start? This is simply saying, now that I know the answers to my problem, what is the best answer for my problem? What should I do first? What should I do next? Simply just having an action plan. It depends on what you do. It depends on the solution of your problem. Like I said earlier, when you don't review what you do, you don't get better at what you do. Always review. Have a monthly review. Have a daily review. Ask yourself at the end of each day, what could I have done differently? First of all, always come from a point, what did I do well? Always start from that aspect. It's always at the back of your mind, start from what you are. Always be true to who you are per day. What have I done today? What have I achieved today? And if it's nothing, tell yourself, I have not achieved anything today. But what can I do tomorrow? What can I do tomorrow? What could I have done today that would have made me 1% better than yesterday? Always evaluate. Evaluate is simply saying, what is the value? Test the value. What is the value of the solution of what I've done? Always check to know, is that the best approach to what I've done? You have a workplace conflict, you have a pressing deadline, you handle the customer in a particular way, you are in the kitchen or you are working in a service industry and something happens and it's a problem, you have work demands. At the end of the day, when you get back, ask yourself, could I have solved this better? What if something similar like this happens tomorrow? How do I get better? That is how people get better, by reflecting, reviewing, and evaluating. All right, so we've looked at two key things. We've defined what the problem is. It's a gap between where you want to be and where you are and where you want to be, which is really the current state and your desired state. Excuse me. We also looked at the mindset around pausing and reflecting before solving problems, like Einstein's quote clearly states. We also looked at a very, very, very easy but yet misunderstood problem-solving process, which is really what, so what, now what. what is simply saying, see the problem with your mind's eye, define what the problem is by one sentence. Now what's really saying, what is the root cause? Why is this a problem? What can I do about it? All right. Why are people always misunderstanding me? You know, that's a big problem. I coach someone who had that challenge. I know what I am. I know that I'm a very caring person. I know that I'm this and that. I'm nice, I'm this, I'm lower higher, but people tend to see that I'm rude and disrespectful. That's a problem. I ask the question. Okay, so you see this as a problem. People misunderstand you and think that you are rude and disrespectful. Why do people think you are disrespectful? Where do I want to now realize that it's a non-verbal? The root cause is how she uses her hand, because she comes from a family where they're very animated and people tend to find that animation very disrespectful, even though she's sweet at heart. So it's really critical. It works, personal and professional life, if you're able to pause and just ask why. 5 whys at least. All right, so we're now going to talk about the current day problems that we face in our workplace. Okay, very fantastic quotes from Wayne Dyer. He says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. What we focus on grows. When we learn to change how we look at things, when you begin to look at problems and operating conditions, all right, rather than constraints, your mind switches from a reactive mode to a problem solving mode, saying that if I understand this problem well enough, I will find a solution to it. When the eyes of my understanding is opened, the solution will come glaring. And that's why doctors spend a lot of time in diagnosis before treatment. Because in the diagnosis, the solution comes up and you don't need to go to the books. It presents itself. So always see a problem as something that is an opportunity to get better or is an opportunity to learn. When you come from that mindset, you become a problem solver. And I like us to just type in the chat box. It's really, really important that we also positively affirm the kind of personality we are. I want us to go to the chat box and say, I am a problem solver and a solution provider. It's really, really critical that we start to see ourselves like that. So I'm just going to put it in the chat box and say, I am a problem solver. I'm telling you things that works for me, because when I visualize the kind of person I want to be, I want to show up as a problem solver. I'm going for a client meeting and I'm telling myself, I am a problem solver and a solution provider. I will find the solution to my client's problem. This problem that my client is having has a solution. I need to just have clarity. I need to go there. And when I go into that meeting, I am doing what we call consultees. I am asking questions. Problem solvers are fantastic at asking the right kinds of questions. Questions like, what do you think success should look like? Why do you need a solution? What are the 3 key things holding you back? Where would you like to be in the next 3 to 5 years? Questions like that opens up, open-ended questions, opens up the conversations and reveals unarticulated concerns. It reveals unarticulated, unmet needs, unarticulated wants. Ask questions, build the capacity to look at things, rather than looking at a problem, look at them as an opportunity to learn. All right? Ask questions to get clarity. It's really, really critical. Now, like I tell people, every organization, and I'm very, very excited that a lot of us here in this room are mostly employees. But you see, you are not employed in a job just to be paid, just because, the owner of the business just wants to have people. People are, first of all, before you are hired, a need is first created. The owner of the business recognizes that there is a process that needs to be done to make him more money, or to cut him, or to do something for him. So he creates the process first. He now looks, I need someone because I don't have the time. And people on my team don't have the time to do that or the energy to do that. I will hire somebody to fit into that role. That person needs to have the competency, needs to have the attitude suitable for that role, for them to do that role. And I'm going to pay him a certain percentage of what it will cost me to leave what I'm doing, to do it. I'll rather pay somebody else to do it for me. Now, the owner's time to do that job might be 1 million per month as an owner. That is too expensive for him to leave to do. So he's going to look for an alternative. I'll look for somebody who's going to take 100,000 naira a month to do what I would literally do for 1 million a month for. That is how jobs are created. People, most companies are not NGOs. They just want to get people on board and just hire people. No, even NGOs don't hire anyhow. There needs to be a problem. So if you are in an organization and you are not a problem solver, you are shortchanging your organization. I'm not joking. If you are in a place and you are just doing exactly what you are paid for, you are shortchanging your organization, because if you are not solving the core problem, these big 4 problems that I'm talking about, you are not indispensable. I have worked with a boss before, a very toxic boss before, but he was never fired. You know why? Because this boss understood the company's big 4 problems, and he was always positioned as a solution provider to any of these big 4 problems. Now, people say, oh, personality over a process. But the truth about the matter is, some people keep certain people on board, not because they like them, but because they make them sleep better at night. To be honest, I might likely pick someone who will make me sleep better at night than somebody I like personally. It's really, really critical. I want to be able to sleep well at night, that I'm surrounded with a team of people who are thinking and they are solution provider. All right. All right. So I see a question jumping him. How do you make sure you're not just doing what you're paid for if that's what you're hired? How do you make sure you are not just doing what you're paid for if that's why you were hired? That question, I need to get clarity, but I'll pack that. Hopefully, Olamide, you will ask the question at the end so that I can take the questions at once because of time. How do you make sure you're not just doing what you are being paid for if that's why you are hired? Okay, if I get you correctly, what you're trying to ask is, you should be able to do more than what you're hired. Please kindly rephrase so that I can take the question at the end of the program. So the big 4 problems are there in this organization. If your boss can do what you are doing more than you can do it, that's a problem. Your job, you should be able to do. He shouldn't have the time. I like to say, if your boss has a weakness somewhere, that is a place for you to shine. If your boss is somebody who does not really pay attention to details, that is an area for you to say, boss, I will be your attention to detail person. I will take that part of your life that is a problem and I will solve it for you. I will remind you. I will point you to that details. I will help you see the clear, not to make your boss feel stupid or make them feel ignorant. No, your job as an employee is to help your boss succeed. All right. Steve Jobs says, hire smart people, hire the right people that you don't have to manage. Hire people who are smarter than you. That's what great employers do. They hire people so that they can focus on more important strategic things. So you have to be able to help your organization solve any of these big 4 problems. But I'd like to start with the first one, how to earn more money. All right, great. How to earn more money. Ladies and gentlemen, if you get into a new job, and I implore you to ask 3 questions, but I'm just going to talk about 2 because the other one takes us in a different tangent. 3 questions. How do you make money here? See, I have seen people come into organizations and they are smart, or they are not smart for the organization. They are not smart. They are not tuning into the lifeblood of the organization. See, if you stay where the business is making money, you will never be irrelevant. But if you stray far away from where the organization is making money, you see, when people say, I don't get promoted. Yes, you don't get promoted because the organization does not see promoting you to adding more money. I'm not joking. If you want to get promoted, stay where the money is. Stay where the cash cow is. If you are where the cash cow is, you will never be irrelevant. That's the key to success. One of the keys to success in organizations. How do you make money? If I am an entrepreneur and I hire somebody and the first question they ask me, how do you make money? I want to learn how you make money. I will just, what? Yes, I have someone who's an entrepreneur who's thinking like I am, because that is all I think about. How do I make more money? How do I get more money? How do I make profits? If you start to think like that, you are not just an employee to that boss. You are an entrepreneurial employee. You are invaluable. It means you are asking the right kinds of questions. How do you earn more money? Because I would like to help you earn more. I'd like to think of creative solutions to help you make more money. That is how you get promoted. When you help your organization make more money. Once you do that, you are solving a big problem for your organization. If you are here, you are doing well. Pat yourself in your back. You are doing well. If you're helping your organization earn more money, you are doing well. The second problem that every organization faces is how to save more money. If you ask me, what are the key, if you're a new employee and you ask me as an entrepreneur, what are the 2-3 things that you think cost you more money that you would like to cut down on? I will tell you, manpower, power bills. I wish I could have this. I wish I could do this. I wish I could do this. Once you start to do that for your employer, and you are positioning yourself in projects that helps them cut down costs, help them save more money. Oh my goodness, how can you be relevant? You see, when companies want to cut down staff, they don't cut down staff around people who do these 3 things or these 2 things. They don't. How can you survive if you cut down somebody who makes you money for you? How can you survive if you take somebody who helps you cut down money? Your business is going under. And the thing you are doing is cutting down somebody who helps you make money. No, now. That's not possible. You can never cut someone off who helps you make more money. You will cut other people, but you see, people who help you make money cannot go. So if you've been let go, well, it's unfortunate, but the truth of the matter is you may not be making your company money. You see, I tell people that money is a defense. And people look at that word as a very, very, you see, there are some very powerful principles that you need to learn. That when you learn them, it cuts across. Money is a defense. If you help somebody make money, there are things the person will tolerate about you that he will not tolerate from other person. I'm not joking. That money you make from them defends you against them. In your marriage, if you don't make money, you are defenseless as a woman or as a man. In your job, if you don't make money for your organization, you are defenseless as an employee. If you don't make money, if you don't create wealth, you are defenseless. You are unable to protect the people you care about because you are defenseless. So it's very, very critical that you see money in a different way. I want you to take your mind off seeing money as a vain thing. See money as a protection. When you help people get more money, you are always valuable to them. Always valuable to them. And that's why when you go on LinkedIn, when you interact with people on social media, give them tips on how they can make more. Give them tips on how they can get better. That is how you build strong relationships. People never let people go when they help them do better. That is how you build quality and you expand your network. So I don't know people. Yes, because you don't give people value. Oh, people don't stick around with me so long because you don't give them more value. You take from them. It might not be the case, but in most cases, ask yourself the question, how much am I depositing in the lives of others? All right? If you deposit in the lives of others and they don't return that favor, well, that's a toxic relationship. That's not the kind of relationship I'm talking about here. I'm talking about really rewarding relationships where people who you need to spend time with don't really stick around. All right? It's because it may be that you are really not adding enough value. All right? So when you help people get more, you are able to defend yourself. You're able to protect yourself. So 2 key things, and I think the last 2 really, I would like to say if you do nothing for your organization or you focus on nothing on your organization, focus on how to help them earn more money. That problem is never old. You will get the attention of your CEO. If you come across a solution that can help, say, so I'd like to have a short 5 minutes meeting. I hope I won't miss the time. I noticed that we make money from ABCD by selling ABCD products. I went through town today and I realized that we can make more money if we can sell to a new customer service. And I realized that we'll do this. Your CEO will light up. Can we talk about it during lunch? I'll buy you lunch. That is what your CEO will tell you. No CEO is too busy for somebody who wants to help him make more money. No CEO is too busy for somebody who will help him make more money. All right? The next thing, the third thing is how to improve your organization market share. Really trickles down to the first one. Market share is really, how do I help my organization capture more cheese? All right? I used to work for a consulting company some time ago. And we had a space. We're a learning and development consulting business. We also had a space for events. Now, people will come, individual trainers will come, bring training from Ibadan. You see trainers from Ibadan, from Ogun State, will come to Lagos, get business, and come and use our venue to do training. And we are a training company. I'm like, and I'm going to be telling my team, guys, why don't you guys go and ask these people where, these trainees, the organizers of this training, who are the people? Why? Who are they? How are these people from Ibadan, people from other states? And we are Lagosians. We like to think that we are the smartest people in Nigeria. They are coming to steal our cheese right under our nose. And when I now started to tell my team that, no, guys, it's not just about doing your job. You need to be inquisitive. Ask people around. You are working for a hotel. You're working for an organization. When was the last time you asked yourself, who are my business competitors? What are they doing differently that my business is not doing? Which client base are they focusing on that they're not focusing on? See, it is not so hard to stand out in an organization. It's not so difficult to stand out and get promoted. It's not difficult. Hello, somebody is trying to say something. All right, I believe that was an error. So it's really not so difficult to stand out in any organization if you are very, very sensitive to this key information around how to earn more money, how to save more money, and how to improve my organization's market share. If I can improve my organization's market share by telling them where cheese is, by telling them where new business is, by telling them this market exists here, you are making yourself very, very relevant. Another problem is enhancing your organization brand. It's really critical. Whether you like it or not, your employers are watching you, what you say about your organizations online. When was the last time you posted something about your organization? You will spend 8 hours, 1/3 of your day in an organization, and you say nothing about that organization to anyone, or you say nothing about that organization online on social media. It says a lot about how you see your work. If you can spend 1/3 of month, okay, so let's break down our time blocks of the day. We have 24 hours, we sleep for 8 hours. So you have 16 hours. So 16 hours of the day, you have half of your time, you are at work and you say nothing about that organization. It's really critical. So it's a problem. Every organization wants to be seen. Once you create an avenue for your organization to be seen by others in a positive light, that is a problem. Your organization always spends money on marketing, advertising, public relations, government relations. There are lots of money, budgets. There's a lot of budgets. If you're able to tell your boss, oh, if you go to an event here, it will show you in a different light. Oh, boss, I think you should attend this seminar. Oh, sir, I heard about this government program. I think it's something that our organization should go to. Maybe we can send somebody there to go and represent us. You are looking for opportunities to represent your organization in a good light. That is a place to be in. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in these four problems in your organization, there is nothing stopping you from being promoted. There is nothing stopping you from growing. There's nothing stopping you from being indispensable by a boss. Forget it. People pay people who solve problems. The world needs problem solvers. We don't need people who wallow and talk about. We need people who stay where the problem is and help people solve problems. That's what the world pays for. That is what the world pays for. All right, so it's really critical that as we approach towards the end of this session, that we also look at solving the current day problems that we have, right? Like a lot of us have said today, time management, for me, the biggest problem in problem solving, can you see that? I'm already wrapping already. The biggest problem in problem solving is managing time, managing priorities. You see, if you can solve that one problem around that, being able to know what is important and what is irrelevant. You see, I have seen people make very, very smart people make very silly mistakes in personal and professional life, where people give the wrong kind of people attention, time, and relevance. It's really, 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 really sad. You have to be able to prioritize, which is really, really critical if you want to be if you want to be a great problem solver. The ability to know what is important, what is urgent, and what is significant. That, I'm sure when you did your training, you heard about the time management matrix. Now, that time management matrix is important, but I like to say there's a third part in that matrix. Now, when you say important is really talking about, does this thing matter? Does this thing matter? That's importance. Does it matter? Urgency is saying, do me now. I want you to do me now. All right? I have to do it now. Should you do me now? Should you do me now? Signal saying, would it matter if I don't do it or not? So it's really critical that you don't just stop around important and urgent or important and non-urgent. Significance, because over time, things look significant. What was significant yesterday may not be still significant 3 months later. There are problems sometimes that I don't talk about, that I just wait it out. And when I give it time, it no longer becomes important, or it no longer becomes significant. It no longer has immense value on my long-term goals. So don't just get stuck around important urgency, also significance long-term. All right. It's really critical that we learn to manage our time, prioritize, avoid distractors, things that distract us from our core purpose. Really critical. The second one is be curious. I can't overemphasize this enough. All right. Curiosity is the bedrock of growth. You have to be curious. If you're not curious, to ask questions, ask the right kinds of questions, open-ended questions. Really, really critical that we learn to ask open-ended questions. Very, very important that we ask open-ended questions. Really, really critical that we do that. Be creative. There is nothing as fun to be with and interesting to be around someone who is creative, who sees opportunities where no one is looking at. Like I said, I gave an example of a toxic boss that I work with, but he was able to stay in the organization for longer than he should have because he was a roller coaster. He was a dangerous impact on the culture of the organization, but he was very creative. He was a solution provider. Outside, he was celebrated, but within the team, he was a toxic. I have heard colleagues who said they had suicidal thoughts just by being around him. It was that toxic, but he was kept on board because he was a solution provider. He was a very creative person. So that's not to say that building your personality and building your entire social skills and being a place of a refuge for people by being creative is an excuse. No, I'm just saying that people have dealt with the worst of the worst because of people are promised of us. I've seen women who have refused to leave marriages that is toxic because the man solves their problem. All right. That is how dangerous, or that is how important or imperative being a problem solver is. There's nothing as powerful as you being, a boss or a leader that solves problems or is able to solve problems, or a father or a mother. When there's crisis in the home, or there's crisis in your relationship, there's crisis in the workplace, and you're able to go out of the box and see opportunities where no one is seeing. There's nothing as powerful as that. People are able to take more. People are able to tolerate more from such people because they're able to take a burden of them. They are very, very powerful people. Solutions. When you are a problem solver, you are very powerful. You are very influential because people always like to surround themselves around people who are able to take burdens away from them. So learn to be creative. And I like to tell people, creativity is not a supernatural power. Creativity is even being curious. Creativity is just about saying, what are people not seeing right now? 99 people are talking about this. Why can't people talk about this? What is wrong about, let's see things from a different perspective. And people are able to say, okay, let's look at this thing in a different way. That's creativity. Creativity is also adding something to it. All right? As simple as a game. Let's sing while we are attending to our customers. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our shop. That's creativity. You are just adding some flavor to what is being done. You're trying different things and you're learning. So see opportunities where people don't see it. Try new things. Learn new things. Be someone who's willing to test new grounds. That is what is going to help you in the 21st century. All right? Learn from mistakes. And I like to say, fail fast. Move on quickly. Don't get ingrained in what you've done in the past. If you get stuck, you dwell in what you've done before and you failed. That is one major way to pull you back. It will hold you and pull you back. Learn from your mistakes. Review, reflect, move forward. As quickly as possible. Fail fast, but fail forward. Fail fast, but fail forward. Fail fast, but fail forward. Never fail behind. Fail forward. All right? Build other areas of your life to stretch your resilience. Really, really key. Like I said, if you are building just one aspect of your life, you're not strengthening all your resources. All right? To solve current day problems, you need to build other areas of your life. Because sometimes I find the best of the best solutions not at work, doing something else. I could be at church, I could be discussing with a friend, and just telling them, I have this problem at work. I don't know how to go about it, right? And the person just says, why not try this? I tried it with somebody else somewhere. I'm like, that's true. Why didn't I see this way? You see answers in a different way when you take that problem to different areas of your life. All right? Speak about that problem with your spouse. Speak about that problem when you are reading a book. Speak about that problem when you are praying or doing something else. Speak about that problem when you are meditating. You are looking at that problem from different areas of your life. You are likely to be creative that way. All right. So build other areas of your life. Hold strong ideas loosely. Be ready to be wrong. Problem solvers are ready to switch. Oh, okay, you're right. I think that would not work. Let's try something else. Always having plan B, plan C, plan D, plan F, Z. Never be glued to your solution. Do not be, if you are too glued to if you are too romantic, if you are too, you are too in love with your solution, you are unable to think about alternatives. All right? Be willing to push forward, resilience, build strong relationships. Very, very critical. One of my key things for this year is to build really, really powerful alliances. You get things done through people faster than you would get done to yourself. When you are comfortable with a problem, talk, discuss, all right? Share ideas. If you're struggling with something, ask someone. If you don't get the right answer, ask someone else. It's always good to build strong relationships because that is what helps you to leverage problem solving. Most of your bosses do that. A lot of your bosses don't have the answers, but they have a network of friends and colleagues and peers that at night, in the evenings, they join those teams and they throw those questions to their peers, and the peers give them ideas, and they come back to work and they're giving these fantastic ideas, brainstorming ideas. You think that no, they ask people, why don't you do that the same thing? Have strong relationships, within your industry and ask questions. That is one way to solve current day problems. So we have 7 minutes before at 10 o'clock. We'll just take questions before I summarize anything. So any questions so far about anything you would like to ask at this point? This might be a fantastic time to, before I wrap up the course. I hope it was very useful. There are simple, most neglected things that I've shared with you about defining the problem well, asking the right questions, building your relationships, pausing and reflecting to think about the problem. These are common things that people take for granted. Like I said, there is nothing basic about the basics. We often miss things in the details. So it's always critical that we always pay attention to this. So any questions? I'm just going to scroll back to one of the questions that was paused. Lugard, you can speak. Your hand is raised up. Thank you. Go ahead.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear, Lugard.
Okay, thank you very much. My question, I want to thank Will for setting up this program this evening. My question is, how do you solve a problem within your organization when your opinion doesn't seem to be accommodated, especially where you are working with senior executives and they believe they know all in all and they don't really consult other people within the organization, probably because they see them as subordinates or junior staff, or they feel like you are not an expert in that area. But when you have ideas, you find it difficult to share with them because you feel like this idea might not be possible.
Fantastic. In a way, by explaining and defining what the problem is, I can hear a plethora of solutions to the problem. I've heard you say there's a cultural problem. I've heard you say expertise problem. Why don't they listen to me, especially because of expertise? That also reveals a gap. Another thing I also hear, if I'm not mistaken, if I go back to your original question, how do you share a problem in an organization that does not value other people's expertise, particularly when they think it's not their expertise? I think you should ask that question and say, why don't they do that? Now, a lot of times problems, people would do better if they know better. That's my fundamental. You see, if you're a trainer or a learning and development consultant, as long as you have that at the back of your mind, there is no difficult trainee. There is no difficult students. Once you have that, you are able to be resilient and be patient. When people know better, they will do better. The reason why, Lugard, you will call me a fool is because you don't know better. The reason why Michael will call me an idiot is because he doesn't know better. He doesn't know what to say that is better than saying those words. That allows you to build empathy and builds your resilience. So I want you to think, have this at the back of your mind. If your organization knows that leveraging cross-disciplinary team would improve creativity and bring more innovative solutions and will increase their profits, why would they not do it? That allows you, first of all, to be humble. It allows you to have empathy and come from a place that is because they don't know the advantage. Is there a way I can make them know? Is there a way I can have conversations around innovation, creativity, and how that can help increase profits? Remember, people don't shut their ears when you want to help them make more money. People don't shut their ears when you want to help them save money. People don't shut their ears when you want to help them expand market share. People don't shut their ears when you want to help them build their brand. It's the how that you need to find out about. How you do that is up to you. You know your organizations better. How do I help them? But please come from a place of humility, saying that people will do better if they know better. My bosses, my organizations, they don't know the power of what they are not, they're not using. That allows you to be ingenuous about the solution. But if you get stuck around the culture, oh, they don't take me seriously, they hold me down, you get stuck in that spiral and it begins to exude negative energy, and it's just a cyclical process. They don't get your feedback and they do the things. The company is not as profitable as you can imagine it to be. So ask the why question. Why? Why are they like that? Why? It could be experience. It could be culture. It could be the leadership. That allows you to see the gap of the problem. That allows you to see, okay, what can I do? What is the kind of solution? It might be you starting to have your own conversations with your peers. It might be you starting to, find ways to demonstrate competence. It depends on the type of problem. Ask the why questions, and I'm very certain that it will reveal itself to you. No organization wants to lose money. No organization wants to spend too much money. Once you have that at the back of mind, come from the part that there is ignorance. They don't know what to do. That's why they're acting that way. I hope that was useful.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Glad I was able to answer that question. I have a question from the top. Somebody asked me earlier, but if you have a question, you can raise up your hand. We have 1 minute. We just take one question. Somebody asked me earlier, what's the difference between critical thinking and strategic thinking? Critical thinking is simple. There's a problem. How do you critically think about it? Critical thinking is thinking about your thinking, so that you are sure that the right thinking is what is producing the right solution. Thinking about your thinking, so that the right thinking is what is producing the right solution. Sometimes we can be emotionally glued, we can be emotionally attached to a solution that we're just thinking, but we're not critically thinking. Critical thinking is unbiased, reflective thinking, right? Breaking things down, evaluating it, making the right conclusions, challenging your assumptions. Am I making assumptions here? But strategic thinking is a long-term kind of thinking. What do I need to do now that would affect me in 3 years? That's strategic thinking. All right? When you are thinking long-term, you are thinking strategically. You are saying, what are the 3 key things I need to do this year that will have a huge impact on my next 5 or 10 years? Strategic thinking. All right, so they're quite different, but they're all useful, right? But there are times where we need to lean on more or one, depending on the kind of problem. If you're having a strategic problem, maybe your organization does not know where they are going next, you have to start thinking strategically. There has to be somebody responsible for thinking strategically for every organization. But every manager, operations manager, or every individual must critically think, but there must always be somebody responsible in your team, in your organization, responsible and challenging people to think strategically, or else you'll just be doing things and in 7-8 years you have not really changed because you have not thought long term. Olamide, your hands up.
Yes, so I was going to rephrase the question I asked the other time about how to make sure you're doing. So it was about doing what you're paid for, but making sure you're doing beyond what you are getting paid for. So I'm thinking if I had as a customer care person solving problems and resolving queries, I'm already a problem solver. That's what I was hired for. But how else do I, go beyond, doing what I'm being paid for? So that's what I'm trying to understand.
All right, I think that's a fantastic question. And I like the mind space that you're right now. You clearly acknowledge that there are certain things per your JD that you need to be doing well. But how do I do more? And I think every entrepreneur, every boss, would relish that question. But I'd like to say something. Do you know that your JD is just a minimum requirement to stay on your job? People who get promoted, people who get elevated quickly, are people who are able to demonstrate that they are qualified, that are qualified for the role above them. That's why they say dress not for the position that you are in, dress for the position that you are aiming for. So when you see people dress, I'm like, guy, why are you dressing too much? No, he's not dressing for his current role. He's dressing for the role that he's aiming for. If you're aiming for a customer service manager, you have to be able to demonstrate the competency, the skills, the leadership traits to take on that role. So it means that your JG is your minimum requirement to stay in that job. But if you want to leave that job and take a higher role, you have to take the extra. And I think the one place you can start from is look at the JD of the next role that you are aiming for. When you start to take some of those responsibilities gradually, you are automatically exceeding expectation. So if you're a customer service representative and the next level is customer service supervisor, find out what the customer service supervisor does. Most likely leadership, most likely organization. Start to demonstrate those qualities. Take on projects. Help your supervisor ease that burden. And say, oh, I would like to also help you do this. Can I help you do this? When you start to demonstrate traits and competencies of the next role, the next level you're aiming for, you're automatically positioning yourself for that role, and you're automatically doing more. That's where I will start from. And I will take you back to the original position. Always know where you are at the moment. Be honest to yourself. Where am I in this organization? Who do they perceive me as? Do they perceive me as an excellent worker or an outstanding worker? Where do I want to be? What's the gap? What do I need to do? If I want to be at this level, I have to be able to change things in a different way to get to that level. That's where problem solving lies. So if you do that in 1 year, trust me, there'll be questions, there'll be conversations had behind your back. You automatically start having sponsors that you didn't ask for, who'll be gunning for you, because people like people who take burden from them. If you take burden from me, I'll laterally speak about you because you're taking away a pain from me. So once you do that, you're in the right place. I hope that was helpful. Okay, awesome. All right, thank you, Olamide. How does an introvert navigate this? Navigate what? Problem solving? Olamide, you can come off mute and just quickly say that quickly so we can take yours, then we'll wrap it up.
Yes, so I was referring to the fact that, I mean, as an introvert, you're just in your own world, doing your own job, most likely.
Yeah.
Unlike somebody who is just like, very competitive and is just everywhere, doing all of the things that they want to do to get noticed. So I'm wondering, how does an introvert, because it's going to feel like too much and overwhelming for an introvert, I believe. So how does an introvert who is also good at their job navigate a space like that?
Fantastic. Great question. Do you know that I'm an introvert? I am an introvert. A lot of times people do not believe that I'm an introvert. What is introversion? We are more introspective. We gain energy inside. We enjoy our company. We find strength by being alone, right? We nourish our energy by staying still. Extroverts get their energy by speaking to people. They take energy from people and they get energy, right? Now, a lot of times people confuse introversion to being not assertive or being not proactive. You can be an introvert and be assertive. You can be an introvert and be proactive. You can be an introvert and be a CEO. Extroversion is not necessarily a trait of a leader. It could be an advantage, but it's not necessarily a trait of a leader. Character, competence, charisma, all those things, they all play a part in what forms you as a leader. So never see your introversion as a flaw. But one thing I would like to say is, show up for the occasion. Always show up for the occasion. There's something I like to say, and I know I use a lot of anecdotes, from the scriptures. It's, pardon me, I'm a religious man, so it's very often, there's something Apostle Paul said sometime. He says, I am everything to everyone. It doesn't mean that he loses himself. It means that if he meets a prostitute, he becomes someone who can relate to a prostitute. If he meets a tax collector, he becomes someone that can relate to a tax collector. When he meets someone who is highly religious and a Sadducee, he becomes someone that can relate to that person, but he does not lose his core. So it means that your job, there's a way you need to show up without losing your introversion. Your introversion is a superpower too. The ability to internally reflect and think things through is something extroverts don't have that you can leverage on. But when the occasion demands, be ready to step up and show up. It's important that you show up. Show up, speak up, demonstrate proactiveness, be assertive. These are not skills that are limited to being extroverted. They are life skills that you must build. But as an introvert, don't get caught up in that. Know that you are someone that needs to nourish. So when you get back home, when you've extended yourself so much, go back home and shut down and recuperate. Get your energy back. You're not an extrovert, but you need to show up. But when you show up, go back and re-energize as an introvert. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I mean, I am an introvert, just like you. People don't believe it. So, because I remember one scenario where I was at work and my boss was like, "Olamide, yes, you do your job, but you're just inside, like you're just on your own place, doing your thing." And it felt like it was a bad thing, but I was confused. Like, am I not supposed to just be doing my job? So that was why I was asking the question. But it makes sense that you said that, or just try and show up, then you can always get back your energy once you get to your space.
Yeah, it's not bad that you're an introvert. It has a lot of advantages being an introvert. In fact, I want you to read the book called The Power of the Introvert. I can't remember the author now, something I read a long time ago. The Power of Introverts. Society has celebrated extroversion so much that people think that they need to be extroverts to succeed, but that's not true. And that's why introverts fizzle out. They burn out when they try to be extroverts. All right, they burn out. Understand your personality type, but know when you need to show up, but always know when to recharge. Really, really critical. All right, you need to also demonstrate charisma and the capacity to lead others. And capacity to lead others, you need to influence. And in influence, you need to be able to communicate. Those are life skills that need to build. All right. How long you stay in that space determines whether you're extrovert or introvert. Extroverts naturally like that space, but introverts don't. All right. So you just know how to manage your energy. Manage your energy. Stay true to yourself. Know yourself and stay true to yourself and manage your energy. Show up, recharge. Show up or recharge. All right. All right. So I wish I could take more questions. This was a fantastic training workshop. I hope you learned a lot. I'd just like to say something before I go. Whilst I summarize this workshop, right? Most problems can be solved if it's clearly defined. Most problems can be solved if you can sit down and clearly define it. You are responsible, right? You are really responsible for getting understanding of problems. You are responsible for it that you face in your organization. When you have problems in organizations, especially around how to save money, how to cut costs, how to grow your market share, how to improve customer brand, you are responsible for understanding what goes on in your organization. If you are in that space, you are never going to be indispensable. Never going to be indispensable. All right. Like I said, every business has 4 problems. Stay in those 4 problems. Everybody has those problems too as well. If you are in that problem, you would always have, you always be relevant. Now, but before I close, there's something I would like to say. I know a lot of you may, regardless of your religious affiliations and the likes, but you come to show an appreciation, of what the scripture says about in the book of Genesis, right? So God created this beautiful world, this fantastic world. He made the birds, he made the sea, he did everything that was, that was wonderful, right? And his first commandment to humanity, was it, thou shalt have no gods before me? No. Was it love thy neighbor as thyself? No. The first commandment that God gave in 1:28 was Be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. That is your first commandment by your creator. You have to be fruitful in your organization. Ask yourself, I have stayed here 1 year. What have I made? Have I made an impact? That is the mindset that I want you to always have, regardless of the culture of your organization. Make an impact. Make an impact. So I would charge you today to go out there in your job, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. So thank you very much, guys. I hope that was useful. At this point, I would call it a wrap. I'll hand over the mic to Sylvia. Sylvia, are you still there?
Yes,
I'm so
still
sorry
here
that
with
I
you.
overshot 30 minutes.
It's okay.
It's all right. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best, guys, in your journey. Go and multiply. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I'd like to also say a big shout out to Wave for organizing this workshop and the fact that they're able to bring alumni from different times that they've been trained at Wave to come and learn and grow. Thank you for this opportunity. And I say I don't take it for granted. And I'll see you all later. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Efe. I'm really grateful for this opportunity you have to facilitate this session. So we'll just have someone share one or two about what they've learned from this wonderful session. So this is way of saying thank you, of appreciating Mr. Efe. So if you can have Nolumide come off mute to appreciate Mr. Efe.
Okay, so we're supposed to talk about wavelengths, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so I learned that you should be where the money is in an organization if you want to move to, or you want to move up the ladder, and also define your problem, understand your problem, so you know the right solution to give to it. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Olumide. So before we log off this Zoom, please send your number on the chat box. Your number and your name in full, so we can get the reward for being on this session. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you so much, Efe, for this super interesting, exciting session. Please, can someone else also come off mute to say thank you to our facilitator, right? By also sharing something you have learned from the session. It's a way we say thank you. That means that he didn't just spend all these hours talking. Yes.
Mr. Ife, thank you very much for the session. It was great. Personally, I learned a lot. Learned a lot, very, very much. And basically, I think Olamide said it already. The core thing is just not to rush or dabble into things. You need to understand the problem. First of all, identify a problem, then study the problem, know the problem in and out. That will enable you to now prefer the right solutions to it. That's majorly the key point of the session. Mr. Efe, thumbs up.
Thank you so much, Kabiru.
Thank you too. Thumbs up as well.
Thank you, Efe. I hope we always remember that these skills, everything that we've talked about for your job and for your business, is also something that you practice every day in your life, irrespective of where you are, right? So we are hoping to see you again in our next learning session as we continue to learn, to unlearn, and to relearn, so that we stay productive and continue to produce and replenish the earth. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.